Good morning, Rangada. Good morning,
Yes,
everybody.
yes.
Good morning, Rangada.
Good morning. Bonjour. So, can we start? Okay, started recording. So today we have to read from, but what must then be the spiritual position of the person worker? So, before we start reading, I'll read out to you the summary of what he said earlier. Okay, it will help. So he's saying, first stage of self-development, which is possible and enabled by the ego, the acute sense of separateness, okay, acuteness of separateness, okay, perpetuates its strong grip on our surface nature, even while utility is overpassed and needs to be shed. So what he's saying is that at the first level, ego is very necessary to develop yourself. But after you have developed yourself, the ego is a bar. But ego is very difficult to shake off. Even when you want to shake it off, it's difficult to shake it off. That's what he's saying. Even when you enter into the second and third levels, it is difficult to shake off. Good morning, Kiran. Good morning, Shilpa.
Good morning,
Morning,
Ranganath.
Rangada.
Good morning, everybody. So, so this is,
Ranganath, one question.
yes. Go ahead.
We go to the second level when we shed off the ego. It is not true. Only when we shed off the ego that we reach the second level.
Yes, Vallabhi, what you're saying is the spiritual level. But now we are discussing the standards of conduct. So when I said level 2, it is not the same as the spiritual. Okay.
Okay.
I shouldn't say level 2. Okay, I say stage 2. Okay. Okay, I'll repeat the
Okay,
four
Ranganath.
stages of standards of conduct. First stage, when you are a normal human being, you've just come out of animality, and still animality is there in most human beings. We have selfishness, greed, sense of separateness. Okay, all these emotions are there. But the ego has to help you to develop yourself. Okay, ego has to. But once you have helped and you have developed your individuality, now you feel that you should be something more than a human being, more than an animal. You should be more of a man. At that time, you realize that your ego is a bar. It is allowing you too much to concentrate on yourself. So when you want to get rid of it, you find it difficult. That's what we're saying in the previous paragraph. Okay. So then I continue with the summary of the previous paragraph. When the adolescent soul wishes to establish unity and oneness in the being, okay, that unity and oneness is what Pallavi just now said, level 2, spiritual planes of consciousness. The stage 2 of this of the standards of conduct is not the spiritual level, okay, that is different, it's a social level. When the adolescent soul wishes to establish unity and oneness in the being, the child soul continues to insist on the continuance of the ego separativeness. In other words, ego is very difficult to get rid of. When you want to get rid of it, even then, you realize there is an obstacle to your further progress and you find it difficult. Unwillingness, reluctance to abdicate from its long-lasting domain is a rule and normal mode of operation in the lower nature. So all habits are very difficult to get rid of. Okay? But there's a positive side to it. If habits were not firmly established, okay, then there'll be a lot of fluidness. And fluidness means there'll be no permanence of forms. And how can you live in a world which is going on changing? So we come back to the idea of tamas. No? Tamas has got its own advantages. It ensures the permanence of forms. So when you want permanent of forms, tamas is a very positive thing. But when you want to go beyond the form, then it becomes an obstacle. This is the principle in all the things in the universe, in the physical level 1. Okay. I'm reading that sentence again. Unwillingness, reluctance to abdicate from its long-lasting domain. Okay, every habit is a long-lasting domain. Just 1 minute. I'm getting a phone call. Just 1 minute. Yes, Yasmin, what happened? Acha. Okay, I'll keep my phone open also. Okay. Oh, but that's funny. I don't know. On your phone, is it? Oh, then you have to, yeah, okay, tell your son to help you. They are all very smart, actually. Okay, okay, thank you. That's why you're not there on the line. Okay, fine. Okay, but it will be recorded, so you can access it later. Okay. Oh, that was, sorry, that was Yasmin informing me that she got a new phone and she was not able to download Skype on the phone. Sometimes the phone takes a little time. So, this is what he's saying, that the habits become, they're not easily get rid of. You can't get rid of them very easily. Okay? Then, further, they ascend out of ego to the second stage, okay, where the cosmic consciousness, okay, not second stage, sorry, the second level, what Pallavi said, okay, to the spiritual planes of consciousness, okay, where the cosmic consciousness generally reigns, is not a neutral state of existence, as many people think. Okay, they enter the impersonal, featureless consciousness of the nirvana. But it is not really like that. The divine is very much there, conscious. There is a personality also there, embracing. And it is open to, it is not open to any and every force, it's not an impersonal field. It is the field and the terrain of the Lord, the conscious being who is a knower of his territory. Therefore, it is not a neutral state, easily subject to the maneuvers of other forces. Okay, there are laws in the universe, but the spiritual planes of consciousness, the divine is very much there. That's what he said. The cosmic consciousness gives unity and oneness. Thus, the conscient universal being determines all and every individual action. It's a universal nature which is determining every action. In other words, it is nature that is motivating you, your physical, your vital, and your mind. He is primarily the soul master, the divine in the cosmic consciousness, the divine in the universe. Okay? He is primarily the soul master, and secondarily only does this cosmic determination of action belong to the individual nature. What Siddha is saying is that there are three levels. Transcendent, where the divine is there without the universe. Okay? He is outside the universe. Then he descends into the universe, and the universe is now at a slightly lesser level than the transcendent, but the divine is there hiding inside. And when you come down to the third level, the hiding becomes even more obvious. Okay, the hiding becomes even more dense. Okay, that's what he said. Now we read if that is the truth, what should be the attitude of the person worker? That's what it means. Now we will read. So who will read today? One of you has to read.
Shall I read?
Yes, okay, you can read. But what then? Read.
Yes. But what then must be the
There is
spiritual
some
position?
disturbance, Ranganath. There's
Huh?
a lot of disturbance from somewhere. I don't know where.
No, I didn't follow. What you said?
There is a lot of disturbance. Can't hear properly.
Oh, that is because in the road there is a
Oh.
loudspeaker going. It will go away very soon.
Oh, okay.
It's coming
Okay.
from my mind.
Oh,
See, now it's already less.
Okay, I will read.
Yeah.
But what then must be the spiritual position of the personal workers? What is his true relation in dynamic nature to this one cosmic being and this one total movement? He is a center only, a center of differentiation of the one personal consciousness, a center of determination of the one total movement. His personality reflects, in a wave of persistent individuality, the one universal person, the transcendent, the eternal. In the ignorance, it is always a broken and distorted reflection, because the crest of the wave, which is our conscious waking self, throws back only an imperfect and falsified similitude of the divine spirit. All our opinions, standards, formations, principles are only attempts to represent in this broken, reflecting, and distorting mirror something of the universal and progressive total action and its many-sided movement towards some ultimate self-revelation of the divine. Our mind represents it as best it can with a narrow approximation that becomes less and less inadequate in proportion as its thought grows in wideness and light and power. But it is always an approximation and not even a true partial figure. The divine will act through the aeons to reveal progressively, not only in the unity of the cosmos, not only in the collectivity of living and thinking creatures, but in the soul of each individual, something of its divine mystery and the hidden truth of the infinite. Therefore, there is in the cosmos, in the collectivity, in the individual, a rooted instinct or belief in its own perfectibility, a constant drive towards an ever-increasing and more adequate and more harmonious self-development nearer to the secret truth of things. This effort is represented to the constructing mind of man by standards of knowledge, feeling, character, aesthesis, and action, rules, ideals, norms, and laws that he essays to turn into universal dharmas.
Okay, so Surendra is now slowly taking the argument to explain to you that there are levels, not levels, sorry, stages. Okay, so now uh, again keep the image of the sea and the wave. It will be very, very useful. You are a wave in the sea of universal nature. Okay, that's all you are. Your body is one small knot of matter in the vast universal material world. Okay, it goes out thousands and thousands of light years away. The universe is vast, physical universe. Okay, I'm not even talking of the life universe and the mental universe. They are all universes within themselves. So even at that level, what is your body? A small dot in this vastness. So this you keep in mind. So now Sundar is asking, when you think that this dot, this wave, this individual body, mind, life that I have is the most important, okay, then you are in the lowest level of the standards of conduct. And you have to develop yourself. And that's why the ego helps you. You develop yourself means what? Your body should become free of disease and capacities should also increase. What about your vital? It should also become, it should develop itself means you have to become sensitive, you have to become strong, you have to have energy. That's the development of the vital. What about the development of the mind? The development of the mind means you become more and more logical, you have become more and more knowledge, you have more and more reason and rationality. So this is the sense of perfection that has to come. But when that comes, Selva is saying that it comes also by stages. At the egoistic level, it is just you want to develop yourself physically, vitally, mentally. We just now discussed the development of the physical, development of the vital, and development of the mind. Then this perfection reaches the second level of the spiritual place of consciousness, there also it does not end. It goes on and on until finally it comes to the third level of the supermind. So man will go on, but doesn't happen immediately in one life. It goes on through many, many lives. It's a slow progression. Okay? So if that is there, then there must necessarily be standards. Okay, standard of behavior at the lower level, standard of behavior at the middle level, and standard of behavior at the higher level. The standard has to go on changing because you are becoming more and more developed, you are getting more and more knowledge, you are becoming more and more perfect. Okay? So perfection at the physical level, even an athlete tries for perfection in his games or in athletics or whatever. Then the artist at the vital level, the artist also tries to improve his playing of the sitar and playing of whatever he is doing and his painting. He tries perfection. At the spiritual level also, you start getting the cosmic consciousness. So perfection goes on changing its meaning also at the several levels. And this also applies to the standards of conduct. This is what Sri is saying in the para. Now we will read the para, each sentence. Okay. So, but what then must be the spiritual position of a personal worker? You feel that you are the one who is doing the work. But when you come to know that the work is not being done by you, but is done by universal nature, what should be the attitude that you have to take? That is what he is discussing. What is his true relation in dynamic nature to this one cosmic being and this one total movement? The total movement is a sea. What should the wave? What should it think of the sea? What should be its relation with the sea? That's what he is discussing. Okay? And note also interestingly, what is his true relation in dynamic nature? Now, what does dynamic nature mean? Don't take it only as words. When he's saying dynamic nature, it means level 1. Why? Because there is dynamism only in level 1. There is no dynamism in level 2. It becomes immutable, if you remember. Okay? So there is no movement there. Movement is only at the lower level. So each word you have to take in its proper value and interpret it in your own mind. Dynamic nature, he is talking of the physical world. To this one cosmic being and this one total movement. The total movement, it is a sea that is creating every wave, it is creating currents, it is also creating storms. Okay, so this is what the universal nature is doing. He is a worker. He is a center only, a center of differentiation of the one person consciousness. Okay? The one person consciousness is the divine in the universe. A center of differentiation of the one person consciousness, a center of determination of the one total movement. Okay? So it is a question of consciousness and also a question of determination, that means form. Okay? Center of consciousness, the consciousness is infinite, your consciousness can be very, very personal. But center of determination at the physical level also, okay? Of the one total movement. His personality, and what is the personality? Remember, it's the nature of your body, your vital and your mind. That is very, very individual to yourself. It is not the same for everybody else. Everybody's personality goes on changing because each wave is a different length and different height and it's different speed towards the shore, all different. So each one is different. But it's a sea which determines everything. But the wave should not think that I am the most important. That's the whole point. His personality, the personality of the wave, the individual, reflects in a wave of persistent individuality. Okay? The one universal person, the transcendent, the eternal. Why is he saying persistent individuality? Because each thing, there is a change happening all the time. Your body is growing, your vital also is growing. Okay, you are changing at least, you're having different emotions. But it is still, the individuality remains the same. Even when the wave is traveling towards the shore. In the beginning, it's not even a wave. It's a swell. Just say you can see that the level of the sea has gone slightly up. It's just swelling. And that swelling goes on coming to the shore, it becomes more and more height it acquires, and finally it breaks into a wave. And there is foam and fume, okay? Foam and spray, that is there. So the foam and spray is the physical world. Okay? So this is what he's saying. The reflection, a wave of persistent individuality. Even while all these changes are going on in your body-mind life, the individuality remains the same. The one universal person, your ego is a very, very approximate, a very rough sketch of the universal person, of the divine. It's a representation of the universal divine. This thing. So, however limited it be, still it does reflect that. Okay? The divine is infinite, so he can take many personalities. You are one such personality, the transcendent will. In the ignorance, dynamic nature, same. Level 1, in the ignorance, it is always a broken and distorted reflection, because the crest of the wave, see now he is continuing with the image, okay? The crest of the wave. Which is the crest of the wave? Our body-mind life. Which is our conscious waking self. Very clear. No? The wave, at the crest of the wave is our body-mind life. Which is our conscious waking self, throws back only an imperfect and falsified similitude of the divine spirit. There is your individuality has something of the divine in it, but it is very much falsified and very imperfect. It's like a reflection that gets very hazy and very changed, okay? Very distorted image. So, essentially, this is the thing. All our opinions, standards, formations, principles are only attempts to represent in this broken, reflecting, and distorting mirror something of the universal and progressive total action and its many-sided movement towards some ultimate self-revelation of the divine. So, each wave has to realize that it is part of the sea. So there has to be a slow progress. That's what he said. So if there is a slow progress, naturally there will be stages. That's what Srendra is slowly building up to. Our mind represents it as best it can with a narrow approximation. It's very, very approximate, very narrow, very small approximation. Mostly it's a distortion that becomes less and less inadequate in proportion as the thought grows in wideness and light and power. So, as you keep going up, the image, distorted image, starts getting less and less distorted and nearer to the actual thing. Okay? In the level 1 of the ignorance, you have no idea that the divine is there, although you yourself are really essentially divine. As you go to level 2, you start realizing that you were making many mistakes. Your body-mind life was, you thought you were body-mind life, you are not. But even that level 2 is not perfect. You have to go to level 3 to get the real idea of the divine. So there is this growth that happens. Okay? It's always an approximation, and simply using the word narrow approximation. Becomes less and less inadequate, becomes more and more adequate. The image, okay, becomes more and more perfect as you keep growing in consciousness and height, spiritual height. But it is always an approximation and not even a true partial thing. Our understanding of the divine is very, very partial and not even true. The divine will act through the eons to reveal progressively, not only in the unity of the cosmos, not only in the collectivity of living and thinking creatures, but in the soul of each individual, something of his divine mystery and the hidden truth of the infinite. So, big sentence. Let's see what he's saying. The divine will acts through the eons to reveal progressively. So the whole phrase, the divine will, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 words, meaning only evolution. There is an divine intention in the evolution. The divine will acts through the eons, long period of time, millions of years, to reveal progressively. And what is it revealing? Not only in the unity of the cosmos, but only in the collectivity of living and thinking creatures, not only in the collectivity of living and thinking creatures, but in the soul of each individual, something of the divine mystery. In other words, the evolution is occurring in nature, in collectivities, in societies, even in families, and finally at the individual level. He often makes this comparison of the collectivity. There are also levels of collectivity. First of all, there is the individual. Then the lowest collectivity is your family. Okay? Then slightly lower, the community. Then slightly more, you have all sorts of, between them also, there are many collectivities. The businessmen become a collectivity, the laborers also become a collectivity in a union. So these are all the collectivities. Finally, you have the nation, and finally, you have the humanity. So these are all the levels of the collectivities. So Srinath is saying that the evolution is directed towards all these things, right from the lowest to the highest. The divine will acts through the eons to reveal progressively, not only in the unity of the cosmos, that is at the universal level, not only in the collectivity of living and thinking creatures, but in the soul of each individual, something of the divine mystery and the hidden truth of the infinite. Evolution is there, beginning from the individual right up to the divine level. There, evolution ceases, no more necessary. Therefore, there is in the cosmos, in the collectivity, in the individual, there again, he has given you the gradation. Cosmos is larger than the collectivity. The collectivity is larger than the individual. A rooted instinct or belief in its own perfectibility. The cosmos has this very vague feeling of perfectibility. That's why there is evolution in nature. From matter has come life, and from life has come life. So there is a perfectibility, an impersonal perfectibility in nature. But at the collective level, it is more conscious. In the individual, it is even more conscious. That's what he's saying, the evolution. Therefore, there is in the cosmos, in the collectivity, in the individual, a rooted instinct or belief in its own perfectibility. We all believe that we can become more perfect than what we are. A constant drive towards an ever-increasing and more adequate and more harmonious self-development nearer to the secret truth of things. You may say, well, there are some people who don't feel like progressing at all. Okay? But this instinct is there even in them. Temporarily, they may feel like that. Next life or even next in time, even in this life, they may change their opinion. They are defeated souls. There are everything. Okay? It is there. But the instinct of perfection is there in everybody. But in the soul of each individual, something of the divine mystery. The world is a mystery. Those who start thinking, the universe is a real mystery. From where has it come? Where is it going? Okay? Even where have I come from? Okay? Even that is a mystery. Everything is a mystery. And a hidden truth of the infinite. Therefore, there is in the cosmos, in the collectivity, in the individual, a rooted instinct or belief in its own perfectibility, constant drive towards an ever-increasing and more adequate and more harmonious self-development nearer to the secret truth of things. The gradation going upwards, more and more, nearing more and more to the secret truth of things. This effort to the constructing mind of man this effort is represented to the constructing mind of man by standards of knowledge, standards of feeling, standards of character, standards of aesthesis and action, rules, ideals, norms, and laws that he essays to turn into universal dharmas. So this is the idea. And India says that the final dharma is a Sanatana dharma. Sanatana dharma, I'll just briefly tell you about the dharma. The dharma comes from the word dhri, to hold fast. Okay? And it means that at every level there are certain rules and regulations to which you must conform, to which you must obey. Okay? So these are the dharmas. So dharma is often translated as duty, religion. It's not like that. Okay? The dharma is the law that you have to obey at every level. And that's why this Sanatana Dharma is that which does not change. It is the eternal, the spiritual truth. That's the Sanatana Dharma. Okay? This is what he's saying in the class. So, we have got, we got to 8:40, we have got about 9 minutes. So, we can read the next one. So, Sunki read. So now, anyone can read.
Rangada,
Yeah, tell me.
what is the meaning of essays to in the last sentence?
Huh.
He essays to turn into universal dharmas.
Yes.
Essays to, what does it mean?
This is the perception of beauty. Beauty. Okay? The standards of understanding beauty change.
Rangada, it doesn't mean the French essayer, essays.
Same word? I didn't follow.
Like French, no.
Essays means try.
Try.
That he tries to turn into universal dharmas.
Okay.
Shilpa, what
Yes.
you said, I didn't follow exactly what you said. What did you say?
No, Tarika. I
Oh.
said,
Acha, okay.
Rangada, I
Huh?
said that essays here doesn't mean like in French, tries, essayer.
No. Aesthesis is always the beauty. Aesthetic.
Oh,
Not aesthesis.
yes.
Essays.
I'm sorry. My my question is essays. In the last sentence, he says the last part. He essays like the essays on the guitar. He essays to.
Oh,
Not essays.
sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I made the blunder. Tarika is right. Essays means trial.
Okay. Tries to.
Tarika is absolutely right.
Okay.
Essays means essay is there in French. Okay, so essay means tries. Makes an effort. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't understand.
Yeah, I thought my pronunciation is confusing too.
Tarika caught it. I did not. Okay. All right. So, can we read the next one?
Yes.
Shall I read?
Yeah, we can read.
If we are to be free in the spirit, if we are to be subject only to the supreme truth, we must discard the idea that our mental or moral laws are binding on the infinite, or that there can be anything sacrosanct, absolute, or eternal, even in the highest of our existing standards of conduct. To form higher and higher temporary standards, as long as they are needed, is to serve the divine in his world march. To erect rigidly an absolute standard is to attempt the erection of a barrier against the eternal waters in their outflow. Once the nature-bound soul realizes this truth, it is delivered from the duality of good and evil. For good is all that helps the individual and the world towards their divine fullness, and evil is all that retards or breaks up that increasing perfection. But since the perfection is progressive, evolutive, in time, good and evil are also shifting quantities and change from time to time their meaning and value. This thing, which is evil now and in its present shape, must be abandoned, was once helpful and necessary to the general and individual progress. That other thing, which we now regard as evil, may well become in another form and arrangement an element in some future perfection. And on the spiritual level, we transcend even this distinction, for we discover the purpose and divine utility of all these things that we call good and evil. Then we have to reject the falsehood in them and all that is distorted, ignorant, and obscure in that which is called good, no less than in that which is called evil. For we have then to accept only the true and the divine, but to make no other distinction in the eternal processes.
It's a very interesting para. What he's saying is that no standard of conduct is absolute. It is very, to us it sounds so reasonable, but it is not so reasonable to many of you who feel that moral values are the absolute. In fact, there is a lot of confusion in the normal mind of man that moral values are spiritual. Okay, he is a good man. That means he is always behaving in the right way and the right way. He is a spiritual person, not at all. Spirituality is something far superior to morality. Okay, so morality, fine. I'll give you a. And what Sridhar is saying is there is a mixture of good and evil. It's very obvious. Okay, your ego is very much of a disturbance at this level. But it has got in it that drive to develop itself, and that's a good thing. Okay, take the mischief of a child. Okay, the mischief of a child may be destructive in the beginning, but it's only a misdirected energy. If you can find that energy, channel it in the right way, then the mischief will disappear, and the child will start using his energy in the right way. There's so many things. Take even our ideas, okay, of stealing. Okay, what is stealing? You are trying to get something which you don't have. Okay, and at this level, it is certainly a problem. But what is wrong in trying to get the divine which you don't have now? So it changes. The meaning goes on changing. So that's what Swami is saying. That at the lower level, that which appears to be evil actually starts shedding its evilness and starts becoming the essence of what is there in it. Take also, for instance, human love and hate. At our level, love and can easily change into hate, as millions and millions of cases are being recorded in the newspapers every day. Somebody is rejected and throws acid on the face of the girl. Okay, love has become hate. But if hate is removed, then love can become divine. So this is what Swami is saying, that don't think that there are any absolute fixed standards in the world. All standards are relative and true only at that level. But you go to the next level, that absoluteness of that rule disappears. So that's why in the Gita we have the finally Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Give up all standards of conduct only when you are in a spiritual condition, not at the lower level. If you give up the lower levels, okay, then you can say I can behave as I want, it won't do. Okay, morality is very, very valid at the level that you are in. But when you go up, you have to give up all standards and live only by the divine standards. So this is what he's saying in a very general way, that there are levels of conduct, and level of conduct at one level is not the same at another level, and nothing is absolute. Nothing is absolute at all. This is what he's saying. Okay, so I noticed that Yasmin has joined, so she managed to get her Skype on in the phone.
It was a Herculean task. I've been trying from 5 to 8 and I finally got it.
Ah, very good. Now keep it there that way. Okay, so it reached 40. So we stop here today. And next time, since we have done this already in detail, next time we'll go to those who can act only on a rigid stand. So okay, has to note down page 191 to those who can act only on a rigid stand. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Rangana.
Everybody.